Failure. A word that carries so much weight, so much fear, and yet it's something every single one of us will face at some point in our lives. But here's the thing. Failure isn't the end. It's a stepping stone, a part of the journey to success. It's not a reflection of your worth or your potential. It's just a moment, a challenge, an opportunity to grow. Today, we're going to explore how young entrepreneurs faced failure head-on, turned their setbacks into comebacks, and found success in ways they never imagined. Let's start with Sara Blakely. You've probably heard of Spanx, the billion-dollar shapewear brand. But what you might not know is that Sara's journey was anything but smooth. In fact, she started her career selling fax machines door to door. Day after day, she faced rejection. People slammed doors in her face, told her no, and dismissed her without a second thought. It was soul-crushing, but she didn't let it define her. Instead, she used that experience to build resiliency. One day, while getting ready for a party, she cut the feet off her pantyhose to create a smoother silhouette under her white pants. That simple, scrappy idea was the seed that grew into Spanx. But even then, the road wasn't easy. She faced rejection after rejection from manufacturers who didn't believe in her product. She didn't give up. She kept knocking on doors until she found someone willing to take a chance on her. That's the thing about failure. It's only permanent if you stop trying. Sara didn't stop. She embraced the lessons failure taught her and turned them into fuel for her success. Then there's Elon Musk. Love him or hate him, you can't deny that his story is a masterclass in perseverance. When Elon founded SpaceX, his goal was to make space travel affordable and accessible. But the first 3 rocket launches, they all failed. Each failure cost millions of dollars and brought him closer to financial ruin. Critics laughed at him, calling his dreams impossible. But Elon didn't quit. He analyzed what went wrong, learned from his mistakes, and poured everything into a 4th launch. That 4th launch was a success. And that success paved the way for SpaceX to become one of the most innovative companies in the world. The lesson here is clear. Failure isn't final. It's feedback. It's information. It's a chance to recalibrate and try again. Elon didn't see those failed launches as the end of his dream. He saw them as stepping stones to something greater. And that's how we all need to view failure. Not as a wall blocking our path, but as a hurdle we can overcome. Now, let's talk about J.K. Rowling. Before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon, she was a struggling single mother living on welfare. She wrote her manuscript in coffee shops, fueled by a dream and a lot of determination. But when she started submitting her manuscript to publishers, rejection after rejection poured in. 12 publishers turned her down. 12. They said her story wasn't marketable, that it wouldn't sell. Imagine how easy it would have been for her to give up, to believe the naysayers and shelve her dream. But she didn't. She believed in her story, and eventually a small publisher took a chance on her. Today, J.K. Rowling is one of the most successful authors in history. Her story teaches us that perseverance is key. Even when the world tells you no, you have to find the strength to say yes to yourself. You have to keep going, keep pushing, and keep believing in your vision. Because sometimes, the only person who needs to believe in you is you. Failure also has a way of teaching us humility and adaptability. Take the story of Brian Chesky and Joe Gebbia, the founders of Airbnb. When they first launched their platform, it was a total flop. Hardly anyone used it, and they were struggling to keep the company afloat. At one point, they resorted to selling custom cereal boxes to raise money. They could have thrown in the towel right then and there, but instead they looked at what wasn't working and made changes. They listened to feedback, improved their platform, and doubled down on their vision. Today, Airbnb is a multi-billion-dollar company that revolutionized the travel industry. Their journey highlights an important point. Failure forces you to innovate. It pushes you to think outside the box, to find creative solutions, and to adapt to changing circumstances. Without their initial struggles, Brian and Joe might never have built the powerhouse that Airbnb is today. Let's take a moment to reflect on these stories. What do they all have in common? Resilience, adaptability, a refusal to give up. These entrepreneurs didn't let failure define them. They didn't see it as a dead end, but as a detour, a chance to learn and grow. And that's what we all need to remember. Failure isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. Now, you might be thinking, that's great for them, but what about me? How do I overcome my own failures? The answer lies in your mindset. First, you have to reframe how you see failure. Instead of viewing it as a negative, see it as a positive. Every failure is a lesson, a stepping stone, a building block. It's not the end of the road, it's just a bend in the path. Second, take responsibility for your failures. It's easy to blame external factors or other people, but that won't help you grow. Own your mistakes, learn from them, and use them as a foundation for improvement. When you take ownership of your failures, you take control of your future. Third, don't be afraid to ask for help. No one succeeds alone. Whether it's seeking advice from a mentor, leaning on friends and family for support, or even learning from others' experiences, asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Finally, keep going. The only true failure is giving up. As long as you're trying, learning, and growing, you're not failing, you're moving forward. And sometimes, that's all you need to do. Let's end with one more story, the story of Colonel Harlan Sanders. You know him as the face of KFC, but his journey to success didn't start until he was 65 years old. After losing his job, he started selling his fried chicken recipe to restaurants. He faced over 1,000 rejections before he found his first partner. Over 1,000 rejections. Most people would have given up after a dozen, but Colonel Sanders didn't let failure stop him. He believed in his product, and eventually his perseverance paid off. The takeaway here is that it's never too late to start over, to chase your dreams, to turn failure into success. Whether you're 18 or 65, the principles remain the same. Embrace failure, learn from it, and keep moving forward. So, the next time you face failure, remember these stories. Remember that you're not alone, that even the most successful people in the world have been where you are. And most importantly, remember that failure isn't the end. It's just the beginning of a new chapter. Kate.